Hey, welcome to another Cam Does Data, where I help aspiring analysts, move on from the endless vocabulary and tutorial hell that they get stuck in and try to give you real tangible skills to break into the world of data. These SQL videos are going to focus on SQL, obviously, and try and help you break the query down and really understand what's going on. So we're back on HackerRank. I believe this one is also marked as intermediate. If you've seen my last video, that one was also intermediate. Now this one, right away, I'm scrolling past the intro just for a second. We have hackers and we have a submissions table. So we already know, without even looking, we're going to have to do a join of some kind to join hackers and submissions. So let's look at this. You did such a great job with helping Julia on her coding contest. I think this isn't a series of questions. There's other questions that you did on this same data. So the total score of the hackers, the maximum score. So, all right, here's what we want. Write a query to print the hacker ID, name, and total score. So those are the things I want. Select, make sure you're on MySQL. So I want select hacker ID, name, and total score from hackers. So total score doesn't exist. That's something we have to take. Now we actually want submissions for this first one. I'm going to alias it just in case for now. So total score is going to be the scores added up. But before I add them up, she wants you to find, I think it's down here on the bottom, sorry. She wants you to find the maximum score. Oh, here we go. So the total score of a hacker is the sum of their maximum scores for every challenge. So we have to find the maximum score. So maximum score, and we want that for every challenge. And instead of total score, I'm going to do this as max score. So what we're doing is we are aggregating. We're getting the maximum score for each hacker for every challenge ID. So if they only submitted one challenge and they only have one score, which I believe there's an example here at the bottom. Yeah, so this right here, they only submitted once for this challenge, so it's only 95. But then this one, the second one, they submitted twice. Now 96 is the maximum, so it's going to be 95 plus 96 is 191. So before I add anything up, I need to get all the maximum scores for every challenge. So the way we do that is whenever you aggregate, you need to group by. And the easiest way to know what you're grouping by is the columns that aren't getting aggregated. So hacker ID and challenge ID. So this will group every hacker ID and every combination of hacker ID and challenge ID. So hacker 1 did challenge 1, hacker 1 did challenge 2, hacker 1 did challenge 2 twice, and then it'll look at those, get the maximum score, and only grab that and put it here. All right, let's look at that just to make sure that how that's working. By submission, that should run just fine. Taking a little while. Now, one thing to note, I like taking notes sometimes, just as we're going, to try and track my thought process, keep track of a few things I need to do. There you go. So hacker ID, challenge, and then that's their maximum score. So like this hacker did 2 different challenges. Those were the 2 maximum scores. Let's see. I'm trying to find a hacker that did the same challenge. And I don't see one. I'm sure there's one in there somewhere. But so I need to order by, I just noticed that. I need to order by the total score descending. So just keep this in mind for later. Need to order by total score descending. So first we need to find total score. So we have maximum score right now, and total score is a sum of the maximum scores for all of the challenges. So basically we need to take all those maximum scores for every hacker ID and add it up, and that is our total score. So the best way to do this, let's call that max scores, I guess. Let's keep that over. I like to keep my stuff as clean as possible when writing my queries so it's easy to understand what I'm writing. So max score is that, and then so we need to find total score. So again, we're going to need hacker ID. Now, I don't need the challenge ID anymore because that's only helping me find the max score. I only need, I think it wanted name as well though. Yeah, so I do need name and then my total score. Now, try not to do spaces. Don't do this. It can cause you issues later on, so just do an underscore. Now, there is no total score. I need to create it. Now, again, we do that by summing, adding up all the max scores. And then we're going to pull that from, well, first I need the hacker ID and the name from hackers. And then, so I'm going to have to join this one. So instead of joining submissions, I'm joining this common table expression, the CTE, where I took all the submissions and got my max scores. So I'm going to take my max scores, and I'm going to do that on h.hackerID. And so what's my common column between them? Hacker ID. So when you join on the common column between them. What's my column, or common column, is hacker ID. So we join on hackers, hacker ID versus max score.hacker ID. Now again, I have an aggregation. So I need to group by. What do you group by? You group by the non-aggregated hacker ID and name. Now let's check if we have everything. I didn't add my order yet, but I believe need to also, okay, exclude all hackers with a total score of 0 from your result. So I want having total score not equal 0. There's a couple different ways you can write this. This not equal, you can do not equal. But I think common practice in SQL is to do the brackets like that. So that means not equal. So having total score not equal to 0. And then we need to order by total score descending. Now, this is not going to work. I'll get to that in a second. What happens if they're tied? If more than one hacker achieve the same score, result by ascending hacker ID. Okay, so if they're tied, then I'll order by hacker ID ascending. So ascending is the default. You don't have to put it. But when I have multiples, one descending, one ascending, I like to put ASC. That way I know which one is doing what. It's just more clear. You'll thank yourself in the future. So I need to talk about why this won't work, why the having statement won't work. So it's because of SQL, the way it handles the operations. This is the order of operations. Now SQL goes from, join, then it's where, group by, and then having, and then order by, I believe. No, select, and then order by. Okay. So it goes from, so from hackers, then it joins, then it does the where, which I could do a where here, but normally you don't do wheres by aggregation, you do having. And then select, and then order by. So when we do the order by, the select will have run, and the alias will now exist. But when we do the having, the select hasn't run yet. So this alias total score doesn't exist yet. You'll get an error. Here, I'll show this. Oh, it's going to error out too because I have all of that. You'll get an error because total score doesn't exist. I don't know what it'll say. Oh, we have another issue as well. We're going to get 2 errors. All right, so number 1, MySQL can do CTEs, but at least for like the last 7 or 8 years. But for whatever reason, whatever HackerRank uses, whatever version of MySQL, so you get this error right here. It doesn't understand the CTE, the as, whatever. So if you do CTEs on HackerRank, you have to use the MS SQL server, the Microsoft server, and that'll do SQL. So now let's run it and see the error code. And it's going to say something about total score doesn't exist or can't find, or I don't know what the error code will say, but yeah, here you go. Invalid column name, total score, because total score doesn't exist yet. So the best way to do that, again, you don't do where by aggregate like this. You can't. So you do having by aggregates. So you do group by the hacker ID and name, and then you do the having by the aggregate is less than 0. That's just the best way to do that. You could do a whole nother CTE, or there's other ways you can make sure that this alias exists beforehand. But just for this, it's easiest to just do the having by the sum of the max scores, not equal to 0. And then we order by the total score descending, and then hacker ID ascending. And that should be solved right there. Let's see what we got. Hacker ID. Oh, okay. So another thing, don't forget when you join two tables that both have the same thing, like hacker ID, you need to alias and pick which one you're using. So that's why we got that error. H just from the hackers. Now that should run. And that's that. So I zoomed in a little bit so you could see everything, hopefully. And I don't have to do it in the post-processing. Ambiguous, column name. Oh, we also have to do it in the order by. And the group by. There you go. So make sure any columns you use that are in multiple tables that you're joining, you're using the alias or the full name if you don't use alias. It's just so much easier to use aliases. And that's that. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Go ahead and follow me on LinkedIn. The link to that is in the description. Or go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. I'll do more of these if I can. If you have any questions or you're getting lost, you're not quite sure I went a little too fast or too slow, let me know. I'll be sure to help you out. But other than that, thanks for watching.